right, we are live with Masks of Nyarlathotep. This is episode 50. I'm sure you're supposed to do something special when a show turns 50, but I didn't really think about that. So let's just say we did something amazing for our 50th episode. So where we are is you were showing up in the morning to see, let's see, Dr. Ali Kafur and an entourage apparently assembled to inspect the pyramid and expose the under pyramid structure that you have claimed is there. So, as you approach, and it is morning, I'd say probably, I think you said you wanted to get there somewhere like, I'd say it's like 8:30 in the morning. You can see that there's already kind of a group of people who have started to assemble at the entrance, chatting. There are a few other personages that seem to be of probably lesser importance. You recognize Dr. Kafur immediately, and he's with somebody I don't believe you met, but you have seen at the museum, Dr. Malik, who is Dr. Kafur's boss. And you also see some Egyptian policemen standing around and a smaller representative contingent of some British persons. They look to be sort of military officers. William, you vaguely recognize the officer there. You don't know him personally, but you know that he's a captain in the British Army, and he handles a lot of the political issues for the governor.
Okay.
And he's Captain Baldwin, so I will actually... Oh, why did that not stick? Sorry. As you approach, or I assume you approach, or do you hang back? Like, what do you want to do?
Before we do approach, Maxine kind of wants to get on the same page about something, and she says, "All right, I got my fingers crossed and everything, but I got the feeling that we should just leave our Shakti out of this. We ain't really got any evidence that he's involved, and the minute we mention his name, people are gonna get scared and kind of, no one wants to handle taking on a really powerful person. So, Lottie, I know he did a lot of bad stuff to you, but I think we may have to get payback another way. As far as, we may have to pin this all on Clive."
That's understandable. I mean, it'd be hard to go for, tip of the snake's head at this point. I'm fine with going after Clive, just for this.
Yeah, if we can get that win, at least it's a win. And, let's try to leave the details as sketchy as possible, unless we're forced to. There's I don't know, I just kind of feel like we need to take this one step at a time. Hopefully we can even get into the place. I just, I got a bad feeling. I always got a bad feeling, though, so.
Understandable.
All right,
William's got kind of a wolf. Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, William's got kind of a worried look on his face now when Maxine mentions that, and he says, kind of raises an eyebrow and, yes, but didn't we tell Dr. Kafour about that? And I'm sure he's going to mention it.
He may and he may not. I think Kafur, he's pretty savvy when it comes to, well, knowing who's powerful and who's not. I think he's mostly concerned with getting that sarcophagus back. We'll cross that river when we find it, or when we encounter it. Although there's not really any rivers around here except the Nile, and I'm not too keen on crossing that one. Crocodiles and all that.
Indeed. All right.
You're kind of a respectable British gent, so maybe you take the lead on introductions.
Sure.
Okay. It sounds like you maybe head over.
Yeah.
And it sounds like maybe William is sort of at the head of your little delegation. Is that correct?
Yeah, he'll be walking up ahead and kind of take his hat off as they approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Dr. Kafour has seen you approaching, and he's sort of been watching you out of the corner of his eye while he and Dr. Malik talk. There appear to be a few others. You probably would vaguely recognize, one other person from the delegation as someone you have seen at the museum, but you really, you didn't meet them. You don't really know who they are, but they all have this air of sort of functionaries or bureaucrats, with the exception of the three people that you have seen at the museum.
And you said, do I know Captain Baldwin by name? But
you know him by name, and you have certainly met him, but I wouldn't say you are particularly chummy with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's very busy, and your work hasn't really overlapped. So,
Okay.
but he answers directly to the governor, as you do.
Ooh, a camel.
So, as you walk, he's watching with, you can tell, a sort of reserved interest, but he's very calm. He's kind of standing at military ease, and he's got like 3 armed colonial soldiers with him. But they are, in your opinion, William, as you walk up, you can see that Captain Baldwin has positioned his little party a little bit off to the side, like purposely not on center stage. Present, but not in focus.
Okay. So, we'd probably start approaching Dr. Kafour first.
Mm-hmm. And as you approach, he kind of quickly ends their conversation, and he says, yes, and he says, Maxine, a pleasure to meet you, and you must have introduced yourself as William, or did you introduce yourself as
Dr. Stevens?
Dr. Stevens, yeah. He says, and this is Dr. Stevens I told you about. Dr. Stevens, Dr. Fadil Malik. He is the head of our institute.
Good day, sir. Dr. Malik, is it?
It is. He puts out his hand to shake it. He has a rather large hand, and he shakes your hand with a pretty firm grip. He clearly he gives off the air of being used to being kind of in charge of things.
William will try to meet his handshake with a firm grip and stare him in the eye. Good to meet you, sir.
Dr. Kafour tells me you have made a very interesting discovery. I'm most eager to see this with my own eyes. And he smiles. The smiles may be a little strained, But he gives you he gives you sort of a polite smile.
Is it possible to get maybe a read on him at all, just from this quick meeting, or
A read on what are you looking for specifically?
kind of like, is he? Actually, I'll hold off on it for right now. But until we converse more, actually, and William like steps back after handshaking him, and I must introduce. This is Maxine and Lottie.
Ah, yes. Maxine, I have heard mentioned, and Lottie, if I'm not mistaken, you were part of Dr. Clive's expedition, were you not?
Yes, Miss McDonough. I was indeed part of Clive expedition.
He says, where is Dr. Clive, by the way? Should he not be here as well?
Well, that's something we should discuss a bit later. But he's a bit busy.
Dr. Kafur kind of puts a hand out to Malik and kind of and says, would it really be proper to have him here after the incident? And Malik says, yes, perhaps you're right. Perhaps you're right. But, did you say...
Is James with us, Darren?
James? No. Mm-mm. Right. Yes, of course he did. Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. He is here. Let me grab him. So he'll introduce James as well, of course. And so he would be saying basically that the two of you are from the Clive expedition. And Malik says, an excellent point, Dr. Kafur. Is it appropriate to have two members of his expedition here? And Dr. Kafur says, they were very helpful in establishing this whole find. So, yes, I believe they are an important part of this discovery and should be included. And Malik kind of shrugs, and he says, as long as they don't touch anything. And Kafur just kind of looks up at Lottie and James to sort of see if you heard that.
And Lottie, she looks to Dr. Miller. We're not going to touch anything that we shouldn't be touching.
Yes, Dr. Malik says, you will of course understand I have heard that before. I believe Dr. Clive himself made such a promise to the Egyptian government.
I don't know,
We all
Dr.
know how
Clive.
that went.
Luckily, Dr. Clive is not here, and neither of us are Dr. Clive. Dr. Malik.
True, but you were his subordinate, were you not?
Was
Right.
being the opportune word.
I see. Falling out. Interesting. Well, I believe everyone is here who must be here unless you are waiting for other people for your party. He looks questioningly at William.
William is actually, he's nodding, but he's looking over towards Captain Baldwin and kind of offering like a half salute over in the direction if he's looking over here.
He kind of, he definitely meets your eyes, and he just sort of gives you a barely perceptible little nod of acknowledgement.
And he'll look over to Malik and have you met Captain Baldwin?
Yes, I did meet him earlier A fine officer in my estimation. Do you know him?
I do. I do. Would you excuse me a moment? I'm going to go talk to him for...
Of course, of course. Don't keep us waiting too long, however. It is already getting warm.
And William smiles and nods and looks towards them. Not sure if they're going to follow or not, but...
No, they don't. No.
Okay. What about Lottie and Maxine? Are you going to hang back?
Yeah, I think Lottie is gonna hang back and just kind to speak to James.
Yeah.
Going inside.
James kind of turns to Lottie and says, "Don't touch anything, really. What does he think we're going to do? Steal the pyramid out from under him?"
And if we put our knees into it instead of our backs, I mean, we could try.
He just laughs and says, "Aye, that's the spirit. I half believe you could if you set your mind to it."
Probably.
So Captain Baldwin, he looks up and he almost feigns like he barely knows you. You know he knows your name. And he says, "Nice to see you again. Kind of looks at you promptingly, like waiting for your name."
Yeah. He'll smile. William smiles and he's like, "Dr. Stevens, yes, Captain Baldwin."
"Yes, Dr. Stevens. A pleasure to see you again."
Well, thanks for coming down.
"Well, I'm afraid you didn't give us much time to prepare." He's smiling, but you can see it's a sort of bemused smile.
He says, "Yes, I'm afraid things have been moving a bit quickly now."
Apparently so.
Well,
What exactly are we going to find today?
And William kind of squints and he's like, "I'm not exactly sure. I have not been inside."
He kind of blinks a few times, and you can see it's sort of an exaggerated, purposeful gesture. And he says, "It sounds a little bit like this is getting away from you."
And William puts his hat on at that, and he's like, and he says, "Well, most of my information is coming from those two ladies there, but I believe I can trust them."
Oh, I imagine so. You can see him looking at him, and he says, "Well, at least I can see you've been hard at work."
William kind of grimaces at that. He's like, "I have been watching the Clive expedition."
Oh, the Clive expedition, yes. Of course.
And he kind of looks at him sideways. He's like, "There are some dangerous men hanging around with the Clive expedition. And some terrible things have happened. But maybe we should find out for ourselves. Let's go have a look, shall we?"
Whenever you're ready. Just so you know, orders from Lord Allenby is that we are to at least appear to take a back seat to this one.
William stops for a second and he ponders it and then he nods. And he says, "Very good."
Right. he mentions to the lads that he'll have two of them stand guard outside while they go in, and Jenkins, you're with me. All right. So.
And, yep. And then William will start heading towards Lottie and the rest of them.
And Lottie, did you have words with James? Something you wanted to tell him or ask him? Or is it
I
just
think
chit chat?
Yeah, it was really chit chat.
Okay. Hey, not to rag on chit chat, but all right. So when you come back, Dr. Malik says, "Well, are you ready, Doctor?" To you, William.
Oh yes, he tips his hat and says, "Indeed, let's go. See what we have left in here."
He gestures you to the entrance and says, "Lead the way. We will follow."
And William's actually going to look over towards Maxine at that.
Yeah.
Maxine will whisper to him that they need to, head back to that to the chamber, and they need to bring light sources.
I don't even think William's been in
He
here.
has not.
Well, but he can tell them.
He's been dying to come in here and has not, because they've been pretty adamant about how dangerous and horrible it is. So yeah, and he'll mention the same thing, that they need the light sources and which direction they're going.
Okay. Very good. So you descend into the pyramid. The first part of the pyramid is very touristy. I mean, well, comparatively, it's a long shaft down at an angle. It ends in a chamber. You can see everything is kind of all of the artifacts are laid out more or less supposedly the way that it was discovered, but it's clear that they've tidied it up and organized it a little more, and there are labels all over the place and little plaques and stuff, so it has a little museum feel to it, even though it's pretty bare in there, and parts of the wall, things have stripped away in places and that sort of thing. Maxine and Lottie have been down here a few times. The interesting part comes when you come to the main king's chamber, where Mycerinus was buried, and the discovery happened, which there is now sort of a new sign up, indicating the exciting discovery just this year of a hidden burial chamber for a queen, thought by some to perhaps be the legendary Queen Nitocris, but still debated by scholars. And so you go down this passage, and then there's this bare chamber, which you can kind of see. It looks kind of like this. And in that chamber, there are a few items in there, but the walls are pretty bare. But along the passage to that chamber, there is a painted design on the wall with a procession of Egyptian functionaries and slaves and soldiers, and the carried body of some fine Egyptian queen or princess, and she's on a, she's being carried on a litter that's clearly like a funeral litter, but she's sort of sitting up on the litter and pointing, toward the chamber, which is not that unusual for a funeral procession. The suggestion is that they are immortal. So, who's leading, and and what are you doing?
Up until this point, Maxine's been letting William lead and just trying to stay kind of mousy and unnoticed so she doesn't get interrogated along the way.
Yep.
But as they get there, she's looking around for those. She had asked William about some light sources. Do people have some lanterns or some electric torches?
Absolutely, yes. They've come expecting to, have to light chambers and that.
Yeah, she whispers to William, "Get me one of them lanterns."
And he reaches over quickly and snags one. And then as he's going back to he's hold it for her, he kind of whispers to her, "Oh, I hope you're right about this."
Oh, I'm right. I just hope that they didn't get here first and jam it up somehow. Anyway, she crawls in. Well, it's not really a crawling, but I know it's a tight space to go where you put the Ankh, the upside down Ankh.
It's just down on the floor here.
Yeah. Yeah. So she'll head down there and she'll reach into her bag and pull out that Ankh, and then she'll put it into place.
Okay. She does. And, they're all kind of standing around, they don't know what's about to happen, so they just, they're just watching you kind of fumble for the Ankh and pull it out and kind of go down with the lantern.
And after she fits it into place, she goes back to the. I don't remember exactly, but she spent hours doing this, so I know she does.
Yeah.
There's a place on the wall where
what
you
happens
push in.
when you push the Ankh in, you hear a click release, right, and then you can push in, and the wall kind of swivels inward.
Now, does she hear the click when she pushes it in, puts it in there?
Make a listen check. It was pretty faint. I'll give you a bonus die because you've heard it before. No, you're pretty sure you don't hear a click.
Mother. She shakes her head and looks at William. That's not good. I didn't hear no click. She takes it out and puts it in again. And kind of makes sure it's in there real firm. And then she goes out to the place on the wall where she knows she's supposed to push.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was basically right under the depiction of the queen in the procession.
Yeah, and that's
that whole wall. Not even. That's where the Ankh is, and you just kind of push that whole section where she is. That's how it opened before.
Well, there's like a place where you kind of release the horseshoe lock.
Right.
And then,
so there was. This is where you went into the very small chamber, and then you released the horseshoe bit, and then the real door was over here.
Okay, yeah. So she goes over to where that place is, where she tries to release it.
So you've been pushing. So you're here. The next step was to push the wall there in,
right,
so that you can get in to access the horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
But that hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's what she's going to. Okay, wait. So the next step is to push it in.
Yes.
Yes, that's what she's going to try to do. She's going to look at the wall because she knows what it's supposed to look like when it's pushed in, and she's going to try to find some evidence that it's there in case it doesn't open. You know, faint lines in the wall, places on the floor where it's moved.
Well, the thing is, all along the wall, like every 3 feet, it's there's a groove, there's a tiny little gap, because it's clear that you can kind of see how these are individual blocks of stone that have been put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clear that these are individual blocks of stone that have been placed, right? So yes, there's definitely grooves in between each one. So there isn't like one place where there's a groove. There's grooves all down that little hall on both sides. And you know that 1 3-foot section, one block, was actually not quite as solid as the others. Once you push it open, it's like a foot thick or so, instead of 3 feet thick.
Yeah, she points to where it should be, and she says, I didn't hear no click, though. I got a feeling they jammed it on the other side. There's a unlocking mechanism. But she tries to push on it.
Okay. Give me a strength check.
Can William help her with that one?
Yeah, I'd say at first she's just gonna do it. You don't really even know what's going on. She's just
Okay.
you just see her like lean up against and start pushing. That doesn't do it. Are you gonna keep pushing, push harder, strain yourself? I'll let you push it if you want, with the danger that you might pull your shoulder or something like that.
Well, she'll ask William for help.
Okay. You can try again with a bonus die this time due to William's help, or William can do it if his strength is higher.
He's probably
Okay.
stronger.
So William with a bonus die then for the two of you working together.
Oh my god.
Ooh, a critical.
Yes.
You push really, really hard and nothing happens. I mean, if this thing was going to open, it would certainly have. I mean, you feel you have, there's no way this thing is just jammed.
Yeah.
It feels solid.
So he takes a breath after trying to push, and he's like, he looks over to Maxine. Is it possible it's the wrong key?
It's the same one I used before. She thinks about it.
You can
And she
you
goes.
can, you can hear the murmurs of the delegation now.
She goes back and looks
Arabic.
at the Ankh. It's the same Ankh. She's not had an Ankh substitution.
No, you have not.
She's-
Except
She looks
no
over-
Ankh substitutes.
She looks over at Lottie and goes over to Lottie. They done something. It ain't gonna open. We can either try to show them the other entrance, which may or may not be working, or we give it up as a bad try because I don't know what to say. They done something.
William, does William hear this?
I don't
If
know.
he followed her.
That's up to Maxine and you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of sticking to her now because he's like sweating.
Yeah, there's like this little, now it's like the group of you three, and it's sort of like, this hubbub, and already, you can see and hear the doubt spreading quickly through the delegation and the murmurs happening as they kind of watch you huddle over there with this obvious.
Now, what about
like,
the spot in the other
unexpected-
room
Yeah.
where she knows it opens? Is there any
Mhm.
proof there? Like, is there any way you can see where that opens in the other room? If you know it's there.
No, you have to know to push it a certain place, and then remember, you guys just found it by sort of guesswork.
Right.
The first time. There was no visible evidence.
So when William hears her say that, he says, yes, let's try the other entrance, shall we? And he's like looking past the rest of them towards the captain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just fixing you with. He's got his arms folded, and he's just fixing you with this sort of stare. But his face is passive. He's not making any expression.
Lottie looks to Maxine. Well, the other place is the actual entrance, isn't it? Like the other wall. Why don't we try that?
It can't open. If you can't get the other pot pushed in, it just don't work.
Well, what if it's already pulled out or whatever, pushed in? Maybe we just have to find that and push on it. We can try at least since we're here.
All right, we can try.
Okay, so you go out into the king's chamber, and you would recognize along the wall the spot where you remember pushing that it should open. It should be basically the center is about right here. So the delegation kind of waddles along behind you, and kind of filters into the king's chamber. There's more room here, so they can all sort of like, they don't hover right on top of you, but they gather sort of around so they can all see as you guys kind of converse among yourselves. Maxine and Lottie says, here, Maxine kind of points to where it was.
Are they trying to push on that area?
I assume so, yes.
Max is kind of raising her eyebrow and looking at the stronger William to come over and
Yeah.
push.
Yeah, he's gonna go over there and do it.
All right, you may try.
She'll help him, but
Yeah, William, you can try strength again with a bonus die. Yeah, you push, but again, it just feels pretty solid.
William steps back and he looks at the others and the delegation, and he says, well, we might have to try the other entrance, it seems.
Other entrance, Dr. Malik says.
Is there another entrance?
Dr. Kafour says, yes, you recall I mentioned that there was an alternate entrance over near the Sphinx. And he says, oh, good God, we have to walk all the way over there. Well, very well.
And William will say, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Dr. Malik says, what seems to be the problem, Dr. Stevens? I thought you said it was here.
He says, yes. He's like a bit winded, and he
what
says,
was supposed to happen, if I may ask? Sorry.
well, this, the Ankh was the key, and it opened the passageway. This time, I'm afraid it has not done so. Maybe it's blocked from the other side. Someone, perhaps, could have blocked it.
Who would have blocked it?
He looks kind of towards James.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even bring James along again. Poor James.
Keep forgetting him.
Always getting left out. Here I am. He's back there. He's just not been. He's watching with keen interest. He's just, he's not really interfering. He doesn't have anything to contribute. He's just. But you can see, he is disappointed, and he does sort of whisper to Lottie, and he says, "What's wrong?"
I'm not sure.
Did Clive happen to come out here?
What? in the last...
He doesn't need to come out here.
No.
He's got
He hasn't,
people working for him.
he hasn't left the dig site since we arrived there.
And William leans to Maxine and kind of whispers, "Didn't you say before there were people living within a city or something down here?"
It is. He's got people down there. He's got gods. But look, let's go play this whole fiasco through, all right? I don't know if I can take any more of this. And she just starts walking out of the pyramid.
Yeah, Dr. Malik was starting to say, "Are we going to be going soon?" Very good, very good. Yes, let us go. And they all kind of file out and follow you out of the pyramid. And all the way back up, you hear sort of the rumblings and murmurs in Arabic in the Arab delegation. Not looking very pleased. And Captain Baldwin sort of exchanges a questioning look with William once or twice on the way up as well.
Yeah, William will actually fall back to where the captain is, and he will say, "I apologize about this. I'm hoping that this other entrance will be more successful."
He says, "Yes, I hope so. This would be quite an embarrassment should it fail."
Max crowds close to Lottie and says, You remember them words?
And wasn't it was just Nyarlathotep, wasn't it?
Nope.
Ooh. I don't know if I can make like an intelligence check or something to remember exactly what it was.
Yes, it was something that you didn't say it.
No, I didn't
that
say
was
it.
Thaddeus, that he got like an inspiration that he could translate it, and he spoke it. So yes, you heard it spoken, but it's not a single word. It's like
it was a string of words,
like a couple lines of a poem almost. That's going to be hard to remember those words verbatim. So it will be an intelligence check with a penalty die to see if you can remember those. You only heard it once. So
oh my gosh.
Yes, and you were not in a fit state to be memorizing things that you didn't know you were going to have to memorize.
Oh, it's cute. It's like 20 months. Yeah. And Lottie just shakes her head, looks to Maxine. I wasn't quite in the state to remember what the words were. Do you remember?
I can roll, but I mean, she's not stupid, but she's not an academic, so.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
you heard them too, right?
Yeah, it's just more jibber jabber. I don't remember. I was just focused on getting out of there. Look, this ain't gonna work. I mean, we can take them over there.
There's already
But,
a crowd outside when you get outside. You're still talking, but as you get out, you can see there are people preparing to go in for the morning. They're gonna open it up since you're done.
No, I don't think I can. If you can't remember it and I can't, I think it's going to be a bit of a bust for us to go.
William will catch up back to Lottie and Maxine and be like, "How secret is this other entrance?"
Yeah, real.
Very.
I mean, it's possible you don't need the words to get back in, but I suspect you do.
Words.
Words? Yeah.
It was some sort of language. It wasn't ancient Egyptian or anything, and I couldn't read it. Wasn't any sort of hieroglyphics.
William, it ain't nothing that's gonna make sense to these people, and maybe not to you. God.
The only way I can think of us getting anything is if we literally break down a stone and hammer through it to get to the other side.
They ain't gonna let us do that. I mean,
I don't think so.
just who knows when they did what they did. I mean, this Malik guy, he might be in on it. He might have heard from Kafur and then sent people up ahead to make sure we couldn't get in. Could have happened a day ago, you know, when the gods didn't come back. Who knows? But they're protecting their secrets. I mean, we can go check. I'm game and everything, but I ain't got any hope that this is gonna work.
I guess so. If there's anything even there, wasn't there some sort of... There's a plaque
On the
on the
inside.
outside. No, there's something on the outside too.
Was there?
Pretty
Was there
sure.
something I don't
Yeah,
remember,
I
Darren?
mean, so you guys, it was night when you came out, and it was, you were all exhausted and just glad to be outside. But yeah, there's like a stone stele with a plaque on it that you emerged from.
All right. Well, we'll go give it a try.
So you're saying that you must speak some words, and then the door will open?
Words that I've never heard before myself.
It ain't open sesame.
And it's not Elvish for friend.
No.
Yeah, are these words written anywhere? Who spoke them before?
Thaddeus.
And James would recall Thaddeus is the one that committed suicide recently.
I mean, William.
William would recall that Thaddeus is the one who committed suicide, yes.
Yeah. And, did Thaddeus have a journal or something perhaps?
I mean, yeah, but I don't think Thaddeus wrote nothing down. I mean, Nat died, and he killed himself that night. I don't think he wrote nothing down.
Has William heard any of the Arabic they've been speaking?
The delegation?
Yeah.
He hears bits and snatches of it, and the general gist is growing skepticism that this is all a waste of their time. And that this, and you heard one of them say, this is some kind of trick by the British government. They're all Western. They're all Westerners telling us about this.
Is there any way to get maybe a psychological read on Kafur if he's showing any signs of, like, maybe I'm wondering if we told him and that was the wrong thing to do.
You can make a psychology check, and I will tell you what your interpretation of his body language and all of that is. Yeah, so he appears to be also increasingly concerned, and you can tell by the way he is acting with Malik that he is growing defensive a little bit, and maybe making sort of excuses to Malik. Something like that is your sense. Like he appears to be, worried about what Malik is thinking. That seems to be his primary worry at the moment. Though, again, you're not really sure. That's the bits you've noticed.
Okay.
And it's definitely a change. His mood has changed. He's not like, just been the same even all the way through, despite, not finding anything there. You can see he has a worried look.
Okay.
And once you're outside of the pyramid and making the rather lengthy walk to the Sphinx, Captain Baldwin sort of finds his way to your side. And he says, "Is there anything I ought to know about this place we're going?" He says, I assume this is not all part of the plan, whatever that is.
Yeah. William sighs and looks back to him and says, that should have been the way in. I feel like someone has put it upon themselves to make sure that we don't get inside.
He looks at you and then glances at the two women and Gardner in their direction, and he says, or another possible interpretation is that you've been misled by a couple of pretty faces. Wouldn't be the first time it's happened. In the history of man, I mean. I didn't mean that as a personal dig against you, Dr. Stevens.
And William's kind of a more grim look on his face after he had said it, but it lightens up a bit after he makes the last comment and says, oh, of course.
Well, let's hope it works out.
Yes, indeed.
And he just, he makes a show of offering you a cigarette from his pocket. As if that was sort of like, just a couple of, cool British guys sharing a cigarette was what all this was about.
Yeah, and he takes it and nods to him with a smile. Even the mention of, of what he had said kind of brings the thought of her into his mind, which immediately, darkens his mood.
And as if to almost maybe punctuate his darkened mood, you take the cigarette and you sort of instinctively glance around because you're kind of also putting on a bit of a show, and you can see the member of the delegation who made the comment about the British, this is like a trick of the British. He's looking at the two of you, and you can see he's got these sort of like curious, suspicious kind of look on his face as he's watching the two of you.
And William will kind of stare at that guy a little extra longer as he lights the smoke.
He tries to meet your stare, but it only lasts for a couple seconds, and then he kind of you can see him kind of mentally back down, and he kind of looks away like oh, he was just looking around,
Yeah. And William won't make a comment yet about it, but he keep quiet and smoke a cigarette.
Yep. Okay. Any other discussion on the way to the Sphinx? Apart from donkeys?
Lottie would have her eyebrows furrowed and walking with James and looks over to. If we're not able to get into the pyramid at this point,
What?
I'm not sure what to do after this.
James kind of looks at you and he says, "What? What? You've already lost faith?" And he looks at you.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try to do our best, James. But
You better do better than trying. You better find it.
okay, we know that it's there. We know it's. We know where it is. It's just for some reason it's not been opening.
You can see he's kind of biting his tongue, kind of. He looked like maybe he was going to say something, and he just sort of he fumbles around in one of his pockets and pulls a cigar out and lights it just to kind of have something to do. But he kind of won't meet your eyes right now.
And Lottie just sighs and continues to make her way to Sphinx, or around the Sphinx.
Yep. Okay, so you guys do eventually. I mean, it takes a good 20 minutes to walk over to the Sphinx, and it's already getting hot. Like it's going to be a sweltering day, and at first you kind of have to look around. It's not right in front of the Sphinx. It's like more close out towards the dry riverbed. There used to be sort of a river that passed through here centuries ago. It's gone. It's just like a dead dust bed, and the stele was sort of out in front, and you come around the Sphinx and the couple of little ruined buildings that are in front of it, and there it is. You recognize it. At first, it's sort of like, where was that again? But you do find it. And there is, I mean, there are hieroglyphics running all around the stele, but they're very simple. They're just like prayers to Osiris and things like that. Nothing strange. But there is also a plaque that seems to have been added still centuries ago. It's an old plaque, but it's after it antedates the stele itself, and on it are some strange characters, 2 lines that look nothing like hieroglyphics. They're clearly strange and cryptic, to I don't know if Maxine has ever seen anything like this before.
Well, I have inside the pyramid.
Yeah, but I mean, just apart from this, right?
Yeah.
Like anything to associate with it.
Unless it's
any of you can make. Any of you can make either a Cthulhu Mythos or occult roll. The occult roll would
I
would
think
have a
Max
penalty
is more
die.
likely to go over to Kafur and say, I know you read some stuff about this. You can read these, right?
He looks at it and actually he would have had a little better than that, but no. He says, no, I'm afraid I can't read these.
It's something
these
about
are-
a wind, and
he says, no, this plaque has been a mystery for as long as it's been here, as far as I know.
Can I spend 15 luck? Would that work or no?
If
I
you
know, 'cause
really
it's
want to,
outside.
that does not mean you can read it. It
Oh.
means you can, because you have a penalty die with.
Yeah, I
it,
just
with an
realized
occult.
that. It's like, oh
That would be
no.
63
mine didn't
minus.
roll, but
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it would be too
you're
much.
way, way above. Yeah, it is. You simply don't. And Dr. Kafur just shrugs and he says that shouldn't influence. He says, is there a significance to the meaning of these words that the delegation would need to
Max
know?
looks toward where they had emerged and just walks over there
Well, where you emerged was from the stele itself.
from the steel.
Yeah, I mean, the stele is like 3 feet wide. It's basically, it's like a little Washington monument. That is about 1 yard square at its base, and tapers and climbs about maybe 15 feet. And you emerged from the facing where the plaque is on the east, on the east side of that stele. There's no normal physical way you could have emerged from that, right? Because you emerged from a chamber, and
Yeah.
and the inside of the stele is like 1 square yard.
Is there any tracks or anything that might lead in and out of that area, or any signs of passage?
You can make a spot hidden check.
Lottie's gonna look at James. Have you seen any writing like this?
He says, no, this is very interesting writing, though. What's the significance of it, do you know?
It's not written in hieroglyphics or anything. You can see it's not matching anything else here.
Well, yes,
These-
that's quite clear. This isn't Egyptian. I've never seen anything Egyptian with with these forms on it. It looks even more crude than that.
And it's
They
from
do.
here.
He says they have an almost sort of Norse runic quality to them, but that's definitely not Norse.
This is where we came out of. This is exactly where we came out of.
What do you mean exactly? Well, where did you come out? And he kind of is clearly looking at the 2 remains of buildings behind that are about like 10 yards behind the stele.
It was some sort of almost unfathomable exit.
What is that?
I can't really explain it. It's hard
What-
without showing.
What does that mean? I mean, I know what the word means, but what do you mean unfathomable?
Well, if you look here, there's no way it could be exiting from anything below, right? I couldn't imagine going underneath the Sphinx, even to my Cernus,
He
from this spot.
he points to the. You don't mean in there. And he points to the stele.
Yes.
He says, "Well, I'll agree with you on that point. That doesn't make any sense."
There's a lot that doesn't make sense. about
Dr. Kafur kind of interrupts, and you can see the delegation is like standing, a respectful distance away, giving you your space. And he says, he's kind of making a show with a big smile, and he comes over and puts a hand on William's shoulder like he's, everything's great. And he says, pardon me, but what is the delay? They're getting very impatient.
And William is kind of like looking at the ground and the sand and the stone and seeing if there's like any marks or movement or I don't know if that roll.
No, you really don't. It does not. This area here You know, you down near the stele, you don't really see tracks, and it doesn't really look like it would be used very much. Although, um, the only tracks you do see are probably a day old, and it looks like a pair of sandaled feet leading a donkey, like cutting across
Yeah.
this way, which you see all over the place here. There are people crossing through Giza on their way to the markets of Cairo every morning and then back in the evening. Um, so no, you don't see any signs of unusual traffic through here.
Maxine just turns to both of them and she says, "Let's not prolong this. We ain't getting in. This has failed.
Oh,
We try things a different way."
Dr. Kafor, pardon, excuse me, you're saying that I thought you said there was another entrance here.
Yeah, there is, but we was kind of in a bad state when we escaped, and can't quite find it.
He looks around. He says, "But there's not much here. Surely it's in one of these two buildings. Did you look in there?"
Look, Dr. Kafour, all due respect, I know you read a lot of things, and I know you know it ain't all mumbo jumbo. And this is some of that not all mumbo jumbo stuff, and it's not something that's gonna fly here,
You can
especially if
see
people
he's
can't
sort of
see it.
maybe following you, but yeah, go on.
It's not something that if people aren't gonna see it with their own eyes, they're gonna believe. So, yeah, I'm real sorry about this. It happened, but I can't prove it. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Let's go.
Afraid it's a little late for that.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's worse things. There's getting stabbed to death, and there's having your fingernails torn out. There's a lot worse things than being embarrassed. She seems really angry
and
just at the whole situation and taking it out on him.
You can see James was also kind of getting agitated and was maybe about to say something, but like when you go off like that, he just like shuts his mouth, like he just stops.
And William kind of stands up and looks over towards the doctor. And with a sigh, he says, "It looks like someone covered their tracks and does not want us to get back inside. These words, if we could speak them, they hold some vital importance."
They're a clue to the entrance?
Apparently so. He looks over towards them.
He leans forward and she said, the young lady mentioned mumbo jumbo a couple of times. I think that's the term she used. What exactly is she talking about?
The mumbo jumbo. It's blah blah blah.
I'm sorry?
And
He
points.
just looks at you totally confused.
He points to the word, and then he tries to say something in Arabic that
Yeah.
that kind of
The
sounds
equivalent
similar.
of nonsense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He looks like he's processing it, like, all right. Well, I suppose I will have to break the bad news to Dr. Malik and the rest of the delegation. Excuse me, a good day. And he turns and you can see he looks just dreadful. Like he is dreading this moment. And you also see past him sort of Baldwin just very impassively standing there observing. And he does kind of, again, he's looking at you, William, just as sort of, it looks like he's almost trying to read you, like, to understand what's going on.
Yeah. William's gonna go over to Baldwin and kind of whisper to him, He's like, I do apologize. Someone does not want us to get in. This is all quite. And he looks over towards the Egyptian police that were looking at him, and
It was a delegation member. The policemen aren't. The police are sort of, they're just waiting to see what happens. It's really the kind of the bureaucrats, the government officials that are, they're the ones that are murmuring, and the one was looking at you.
and he says, Dr. Clive is. I've seen them several times, meeting with a very dangerous fellow. What was that guy's name?
Al-Shakti, Omar
Yeah.
Al-Shakti.
And he will whisper that to Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of like all he's got to give him at this point. And he says, for some reason, he's hired many armed men, and even tortured one of the women there. And he's trying to keep this low so that Lottie and Maxine can't even hear it.
And as you're saying that, obviously Dr. Kafur has sort of broken the news to the delegation, because you hear sort of an outburst of outrage and indignation. And you hear that bureaucrat saying in Arabic, it's the British. They're trying to cover up the theft.
And he'll repeat that to Captain, in case the captain doesn't know Arabic. Or
Oh no, you can see by the look on his face that his eyes darted immediately over when the guy said it's the British, they're trying to cover up the theft. And he glances back at you with still a sort of stoic look, but you can see in his eyes concern, and he says, "You'd better handle this before it gets out of control. And I'm sure Lord Allenby will be wanting a full report as soon as possible." And he kind of motions to his three men, and it looks like they're going to leave rather quickly.
Mm-hmm. And he nods to him. He doesn't say anything else to him, and turns around and starts heading back towards Lottie.
Yeah, and as you do, the bureaucrat points right at you and says in Arabic, the British soldier and that man, they've been conspiring something, I know it. They're covering this up. They don't want us to find it. This is all the British government. And he kind of yells at you, what in English, what are you hiding? Why are you covering up this theft?
William will stop walking towards Maxine and start to walk towards that man. But he has more of like a concerned look on his face, not really angry. And he says,
the whole delegation just kind of stops and sort of parts to let you sort of enter their midst, right up to the other guy. Like he just stands there looking at you.
and he says, we have not stolen anything, and someone does not want us to get inside. And he's like, do not blame us. It is not our fault.
He turns to his associates, and he says in Arabic, they don't want us to get inside. He says, did you see any evidence of a way in to this supposed secret chamber or underground city? He says, it is all All a misdirection.
Did we ever mention an underground city?
You did to Kafur.
Okay. Hmm. And William will turn away from him.
Yeah, the some of the delegation, not all, start to kind of yell at you in Arabic. Various turns of thief, imperialist, that sort of thing. That you can tell there's a lot of pent up resentment for some of these people, and they are happy to take it out on you.
Yeah. And
They don't do anything, but there's a lot of finger pointing and shouting, and they sort of follow along behind you, but you notice they don't get too close.
yeah. Uh, yeah, William he can't think of anything else to say to maybe even help their situation, because he's just defeated that they couldn't have find a way in or have any sign of anything, and he doesn't know. Actually, he's never been in there, so he's just really just just hoping that the ladies have some clue. So he's walking away, kind of defeated look on his face and shaking his head. But as he gets closer to the ladies, he tries to fake his niceties. So what's the plan?
And you can see, ladies, as this whole thing happens, you see Kafur just kind of becoming more and more deflated, and you can tell that Malik is kind of dressing him down and is very upset at him for this. And he has this sort of beaten dog kind of look about him by the time William gets back.
Lottie looks to William, having heard everything that's been said to him. Look, I had an idea. So, Maxine's been taking rubbings of what's been said. Now, Thaddeus had some books that he acquired back when he was in New York. I think maybe something in one of those books, or maybe a few of those books, might be able to lead us to translate this.
And William's face grows more excited and serious, and he's like, yes.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
know.
exactly.
I know it's something about bad breath, death breath, and looking at something driving you crazy, form of madness. Anyway, I know that's part of it. It should just knowing kind of what it means should help us if we really dig into it. At least, you smart types.
Well, the thing you remember the part of the problem is you remember Thaddeus speaking it, and it wasn't he
Right.
wasn't reading it in English. He was speaking it like he was a native speaker. It was weird.
There was the English writing on the wall. We could read that, and we read it in English, but we just didn't know what it said in the language.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So we know the general gist of what was said. It's just
Right. But
how to say it.
when he spoke it in that, whatever that language is, or some interpretation of those symbols, and that's when things happened. He tried reading it in English, and it didn't work.
Hey, William, if you want to direct their anger anyway, you can go tell them to go have a nice chat with Clive. Probably
There-
they'll all get shot and killed by his guards, but hey, they won't be yelling at you.
You can see the whole delegation has started to move back across to the north, west, to presumably the area around the Mina House Hotel, with just a few little lingering shouts and finger pointing as they go, just to punctuate their upsetness.
If anything, I believe all we've done is strengthen Clive's reputation.
I don't think we're strengthening his reputation. No, he's still accused of stealing things. Look, let's just go back and find those books. See if there's anything in them.
Well, you said they were in New York?
No, they brought them. And Maxine has them.
Excellent.
So I guess we get back to
And
the...
Gardner says, well, what about me? Are you taking me back?
No, I'm taking you back.
Well, I can't exactly hang out here.
You can do whatever you want to do. You can go back to Clive. He'll probably kill you eventually. Or you can stay with us, or you can go, I don't know, pursue archaeological greatness where you can find it.
Sure.
Stick with us.
One of you can try a persuade check. Or charm. If you care enough to try.
To get him to stay with us?
Yes. He's strongly leaning towards just... You can see he looks despondent at this point. And just... and Lottie, you remember him kind of being like this. He tends to have highs and lows, and you're not too surprised that he's just completely deflated right now.
I'll give him a charm check.
All right. Yeah, he just says, look, I appreciate at least a ride back if you're willing. Otherwise, I'll find my own way back.
Didn't we take both vehicles?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, it's been a whole week. I forget everything. Yeah, so he's got his own truck. That's right. All right, so yeah, he kind of walks back to the trucks with you, right? But he's really not saying anything the whole walk back. And you notice, Lottie, if Lottie is paying any attention, he's really not looking at Lottie anymore. He just seems kind of self-absorbed.
As we get up there, William will say something to him. I mean, James, do watch your back.
Oh, don't worry about me, mate.
And you better not mention Lottie to Clive. She's been through enough. And
Don't worry.
Maxine points a finger at him.
Right. Don't worry, you can count on me. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Look, I'm real sorry about the way this worked out. You really shouldn't head back over to the camp. He's gonna kill you. But
he looks at you
you're a
and he
free
says,
agent.
"Are you as sure of that as you are about the way in?"
Oh, I know that's the way in. I just look, fuck you, and she just walks off.
He turns to Lottie, and when you actually and you notice he's kind of timed this so that you're back at the trucks, so he can make a quick exit, and he just says, "Lottie, you really shouldn't stay with these people. I don't know what you should do, but I don't." He said you've known them, what, a few days? He says, I don't think they're all there.
What else am I supposed to do, James?
He says, I know you've been through a lot, and I feel for you. I really do. But I should probably just go back to England, make a new start. I'm probably going to head back soon, too. If Clive doesn't get us somewhere interesting, I'm done. I don't think I can take much more of this.
Look, James, Maxine, she saved my life. I over quite a bit. And I'm going to be sticking with her for a while.
All right. Well, best of luck to you then. And he looks like he's not sure what to do. He just sort of puts a hand out to shake your hand.
Lottie just shakes his and nods. Good luck, James.
Best of luck to you too, Lottie. Take care of yourself. And she says, just be careful. Not everybody means well. Yeah, and even those that mean well sometimes not really who they say they are, or who they represent themselves to be. And he's kind of, looking at Maxine while he's saying this, and he just, anyway, and he just turns and gets back in the truck, starts it up.
Lottie just looks to him, turns and heads to Maxine's truck, hops in.
And he drives away.
And Lottie immediately, when she kind of closes the door and looks to Max. All right, so those books, we gotta get somewhere. We gotta get to a hotel, and then we're gonna start diving right into them.
Yeah, what was the name? There was another hotel.
Mina, but I think that's a bit close.
Yeah,
Well,
but there was a
that's where
place
you
back in
parked.
Cairo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best place to park to do all this here. The sand otherwise is a little dangerous to be driving a truck into.
Yeah, we'll go check in at the Mina.
Okay. I assume William is staying.
Yeah, he's got to go all in. He's still hanging with these ladies until they find out some information. He is kind of worried at this point because he still hasn't seen anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still something about it, something about them. He's trusting them. The burn marks on her arm and everything, and just the time that they've spent together so much. And he offers Maxine a cigarette. And,
Yeah, Maxine is just seething. She takes the cigarette from him, thanks. And I've been trying to give these up, but to hell with it. And she lights it up and just sucks it down, like practically in one, like a cartoon, leaving just a big trail of ash.
Jeez. Yeah.
he offers Lottie one as well.
Lottie nods and takes it, not smoking as fervently as Maxine. Taking her. Thanks, William. It's a bit daft to lose hope at this point. I think we should keep trying, keep pushing, and then once we know that we can open it, or we find something else to do, we just need to keep pushing.
Look, the one thing I know for sure, come the new moon, Ashakti, Clive, anybody involved with him, they're going to be killing people. And she kind of stubs, pokes down, puts out the stub of her cigarette. And, honestly, I don't give a rat's ass who around here believes that there's a secret city underneath the pyramids. What I care about is stopping whatever he's got planned.
Right. I don't know how we're going to do that, but well, I can try anything at this point.
All right. What'd you say?
I said a quick jog.
Maddie's little comments,
Oh.
they always crack me up.
Yeah, I can't. I can't really pay attention to it while I'm running. I never see them till afterwards, and I'm like, oh, that kind of retells the story a little bit there.
Unk, unk.
That should have been the title of this one. All right. So you get a room at the Mina house.
All right.
All right. Giggity.
Is that a 2-bedroom? Or is
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a
I guess
one bed.
Need to compensate him for all the trouble we put him through.
Just one giant bed.
Hey. Actually, just a single. We just
It's-
pile on top of each other.
A heart-shaped waterbed in the honeymoon suite.
It has been a long time since we've had a bath.
Oh yeah, we stank.
Oh, there you go. A proper bath, yes.
Bathe.
Proper
definitely
bath.
Mm-hmm. But nothing can wash the disgust and disappointment off.
I'm used to disappointment.
All right. So, yes, I can imagine there is some time to just bathe and calm down and get a drink or whatever, and then it's lunchtime.
Well,
So-
William, you don't happen to have access to anything, heavy, right? With your connections. Maybe a Tommy gun or some grenades.
He does not, does he?
You know that if you needed such things, they could be procured. The military here, they almost certainly have some heavy machine guns for serious defense purposes. Grenades would be possible to obtain as well. They're not just lying around the office. But those things are, if you have a use, you'd have to have a very, you'd have to go through channels to get them.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be a very legitimate reason.
He's probably like drying his hair off. I imagine this is after we've gotten cleaned up, right?
Yes. Yep. I imagine you're probably having a nice cool lunch in the dining room of the hotel with little Egyptian boys fanning you.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So he looks over to Maxine and says, I could possibly get some weapons if we needed some. I would have to go through several channels, of course. Requisition forms. What did you have in
Yeah.
mind?
And just something to even things up. I mean, got a shotgun and a couple of pistols. That's not exactly heavy artillery.
Are we going to war?
I
Do you
have a
think?
feeling we might have to.
Are we gonna be following Clive then? Around like the day before? Go back down and see if he's actually part of it.
Oh, he
Don't
is
know.
part of it. I got no doubt.
I
What
just-
I'd like to do is to get a look at what he's got in his tent. I wonder if it's even possible to sneak in there at night.
I have thought about this on several occasions. Before I met you, actually, I was thinking about just heading into camp and trying to become part of the expedition. And if that failed, maybe sneaking in later on.
Yeah, well, I think the cat's kind of out of the bag with you. I don't think there's any way that you could go back to the Clive expedition and pretend to be, looking for work. I'm pretty sure somebody in that delegation's gonna get word back to him.
For sure.
But sneaking in might still be possible. Especially if we could create some sort of a diversion. Maybe, maybe we don't even need grenades for that. Maybe we just need to set a fire. Some big fire. Far enough away that they'd have to go investigate it, but close enough that they'd see it real easy and wonder what was going on. Might take some of those guards out of the camp.
William's thinking about it for a little while as he's eating. And have we gotten the journals yet?
Yeah, Max can get them out and just show you what she's got.
So does the Life as a God tome, does that look similar to what we saw, like for the writing? Like the cover of it?
Let me see. I don't believe it does.
What about the narcotic manuscript?
Yeah, it's it is actually, hold on a second. Why? Yeah, give me 1 second to look into this one.
Oh, I don't know if we've been getting any XP or not, and spending any. Or is that?
I'll explain how that works.
Okay.
It's not the way you're used to.
It's mostly a downtime thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was. So you're gonna no, the cover does not have that kind of writing on it. So you can look through the books. I would say, spending a couple hours thumbing through the books to try to see something is a reasonable thing to do with these books. You're just looking for, you've got the rubbing there that Maxine made while everybody was arguing. And you can kind of use that as a reference because some of the books do have little sections that are written in some weird languages or script. That's part of what makes it difficult to decipher a lot of it. You just kind of have to ignore some of it when you're reading because it's no idea what it means. Okay,
Wow.
So if you give me a library use roll, who would like to make that roll, and I'll give you a bonus die because you're all kind of chipping in.
I've got an okay library use. So
I got 20.
I'll make the roll. Aha!
So you find a section in the Sélection de Livres, which I will. It is unfortunately a French commentary on Latin original, which Thaddeus could read. But I don't think any of you read French or Latin. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I might. Latin.
Yeah, I don't see anybody with
No.
Latin. But there's a whole section that that is interspersed Latin and sort of little scribbled runes that have a very similar appearance to the ones that you're looking at.
Yeah, Lottie kind of points at this. She's finding maybe someone who can, I don't know, speak Latin or anything. Maybe they can I don't know, pay them to figure this out and then translate it phonetically.
Yeah, maybe. Or you could even maybe just start with a dictionary,
True.
you know?
Translate basically two at the same time. We can try at least. But we'd have to translate French to Latin to whatever this is.
Yeah, maybe go to the library in Cairo, get some Latin to English and some French to English dictionaries.
It's worth a shot.
And just to be clear, it doesn't look like there are sections of that with like translation right under it or something. You're not really sure. It might be the case that there's like a line of something and then it follows with Latin and then another line of that and following with Latin. You're not sure if it's a translation or just a commentary on it. It's not really clear. But it's clearly interspersed with the Latin in phrases or, sentences or two at a time.
We might as well try it. I can't really think of anything else that we can do.
Yeah, if we could find a linguist.
This headdress thingy's supposed to be magic. Maybe it lets you read things. And she picks up the headdress of eyes.
Okay.
She put it on.
Yeah, she plops it on her head, kind of just jokingly.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Let me find that.
If this works, I swear to God.
This is my terrible best image of what it sort of looks like, except instead of the jewels looking like that, they're shaped like eyes.
And it's really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're okay.
William laughs and when he sees her put it on and then he like gets serious for a second. That actually looks pretty good on you.
Oh, yeah, well, most things do.
And I don't think you've ever put this on, actually. No. You rest and you start looking at these runes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make a Cthulhu Mythos roll for me.
Well, I think I've got a 0 in that.
I think you probably do too.
So I can roll it, but it's hard to get below a 0.
Actually, you know what? I had totally forgotten. You, Maxine and Lottie both have had what are called Mythos Experiences, which you're supposed to get. I think it's a die 6 of Cthulhu Mythos points just from having those experiences. Like the first time you encounter something. So I'm going to let you both roll a die 6 and increase your Cthulhu Mythos by that amount.
Yay, two.
All right. So yes, your 92 still fails, Maxine. Yeah, so you're staring at these. Like, how much effort are you going to put into? Are you concentrating, focusing, or is this just sort of like put the headdress on, look at the things, so you run your eyes over it. It's not like they suddenly transform into
Right.
something you
Well-
can read. I'm just like, what are you trying to do?
I think she would kind of just kind of have this little, oh, I wonder if that actually would work thing for probably just a couple minutes, and then she'd just, think, oh, that's silly. But she's keeping it on for a little while because William said it looks good.
It looks silly, to be honest. Well, there is a certain. So I will say this: at first, it looks a little, odd and silly. Lottie, I'd like you to make a sanity check for me, please.
Oh. Took me a minute to realize my own name. Sanity. Wow.
All right.
Quite commanding.
You're finding, at first it's kind of amusing, but she continues to wear it while you guys are looking through, and talking, and over the next 15 minutes, you find yourself just constantly looking at this headdress, and it's unsettling to you. It somehow it puts you in it, keeps bringing back these memories of your bad experience. It's certainly not some sort of crippling effect. It just, you find it unsettling and you don't like looking at it the longer you look at it. But you can't stop looking at it.
And Lottie kind of looks over.
If it's right there in front of you.
Yeah, after 15 minutes or so, Lottie looks over to Maxine. Do you mind putting that away? It's making me a bit uncomfortable.
Oh, well, yeah, all right. I kind of forgot I was wearing it. It's a little creepy. And she kind of takes it off. Some of these notes say it does have, I don't know, something, but I didn't feel nothing. She just kind of takes the headdress off and puts it to the side.
What do the notes say?
Lottie's gonna actually get up and pick it up and put it away, in a closet somewhere.
You don't even like touching it.
She'll do it very hastily. You see, she picks it up and immediately just runs to a closet and shoves it in and shuts the door.
And yeah, and it's weird. As you hold it and carry it, you almost feel like your fingers, there's just this weird energy that you really it's like a low level electricity. You feel this sort of weird pulsating. It's strange and repulsive to the body, and you kind of put it away very quickly.
She kind of looks over to Max. I think that thing's cursed.
Yeah, apparently it came from the Gavigan fella. Something the Shelley girl stole from him.
There's definitely something off about that headdress. It's something about it. I just deep in my bones. I just don't like. It's almost instinct.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, these people we're looking into are repulsive kind of people. This whole thing is twisted and dark. It may take delving into some uncomfortable things to understand what's going on.
And Lottie, you felt like as soon as you touched it, you felt that sort of. It was almost like a very low level shock, a pulse, like electric going through your. But like, you have a hard time believing Maxine didn't also feel that. Like, it's physical.
Lottie just shakes her head. No, it's the headdress itself. There's something about it. I could feel it.
Yeah, if you say so. I didn't feel nothing.
How could you not?
Hey, William, why don't you go touch it?
I'm gonna go downstairs for a moment.
Hey, be careful.
I'll be
Wouldn't
fine.
be too hard to track us down here now if someone in that delegation happened to go tattle to Clive or Shakti.
Lottie just grabs her hat and puts it on her head. I'll be back in a few minutes. You play with it. And I wouldn't.
William looks towards the closet where it's at, and then looks towards Maxine. What did the notes say about it?
Oh,
And yeah, Maxine. Let's see. I want one of you to make a luck check. Maxine.
all right.
Nope. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that Shelley wrote something in the journal. I'd have to go back to make sure, but I think she just said she heard a voice when she put it on.
Mm-hmm.
That's
She
Shelley's
felt like it.
Even if you didn't actually physically write it down in your journal, I'm sure she noted stuff like that. So we can
Something
extrapolate.
about it storing some sort of power. And she said she heard a voice. I didn't hear no voice. But then she ran off with that Gavigan guy, so she just may not have been all there.
Hmm.
Lottie, she pauses from leaving. Kind of looks back. I don't like it at all. I don't know if putting it on would do anything or just make me more scared of it.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to push you into doing nothing you don't want to do. But sometimes facing your fears is the best way to get over them.
Lottie takes up her hat and tosses it to the side and comes back down. She faces away from the closet where she shoved the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind maybe just grabbing it and, I don't know, plunking it on my noggin there?
Maxine raises an eyebrow. You sure?
No, I'm not sure.
All right, that's good enough for me. And she goes and she gets it out. And she seems like she's still feeling like it's kind of a joke, but as she takes it out and brings it over and she's about to put it on Lottie's head, the obvious repugnance that, Lottie's feeling gives her a little pause. You sure about this? I mean, this is your last chance to say no.
Do it. If I start
And
freaking out, take it off.
as soon as she says do it, she just kind of puts it down on her head.
Okay. Lottie, you can make a Cthulhu Mythos roll for me, please.
Oh, I have a 2. This isn't gonna work. No.
No. You feel that weird humming, like it's almost vibrating on your head. I mean, it's faint. It's not like some, strong thing, but it's vibrating nonetheless, and it is weird.
Can William have been looking through Shelley's notes this time?
I think we've said that everybody's
Mhm.
been through Shelley's notes for sure.
Okay, so he's sitting there while they're messing with the headdress and stuff, and he's like flipping through Shelley's notes, and he's like, the headdress of eyes, possibly related to spiritual sight. It can store power, and power can be added and taken. A voice spoke to me. He points at the words on the paper and like looks back towards the headdress with a raised eyebrow.
I feel something, that's for sure. It's like a low buzzing. It's
Yeah, whenever Shelley was writing about the scepter she had, she kind of described that feeling kind of like electricity.
That's it. That's it. That's it. It's like that.
I wonder why I ain't feeling it. Let's put it on William, see if he can feel it.
Oh, please do.
If not, we can at least take a picture with that camera of his.
Lottie immediately just moves over to William, like ripping it off her head and placing it on his.
So,
Without any.
William, does William have any hesitation at all as she starts to put it on his head, or does he just allow it? Like, I'm curious what his outlook on all of this stuff is that's happening.
Even as they're talking about it, he's still kind of like looking through the notes and not really paying too much attention. So as when she mentions the camera, he looks up and notices that they're kind of bringing the headdress over to it. And he's like, the camera's in my bag there. You want me to wear it?
And just to see if you feel anything.
He hesitates for a minute and he's like, all right.
And Lottie didn't really care if he said yes or no. She just immediately puts it on his head.
I sent you a quick private message, Rogue.
Okay. And he just smiles and holds his hands out. How do I look?
Better with the garters and the stockings, I think. But
And he's actually gonna like look at the pages and stuff, the papers all over the table, and like look around for a minute. And he's like, no spiritual sight. I feel.
what about that buzzing?
I don't feel anything.
I don't know. Maybe Lottie's just special.
Yeah, and he'll take it off and wherever they kept it before, in the bag or.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well then, we need to translate this.
Yeah, but we gotta get some dictionaries, looks like, first, so not much we can do about it at the moment.
The so many notes.
Yes, there are.
If you get a Russian to English dictionary, that might help.
Yes, I can see a couple of dictionaries being helpful.
Oh, for sure.
So I guess we should get some shut-eye. But think on it. What you think about sneaking into the Clive camp, if that's worth the risk or not. I'm itching to do something. But I know that's not always a good thing.
You may be right. It might be time. I say we see if we can get this translated, and if nothing comes from that, perhaps we should sneak into the Clive camp.
I agree. Now let's put that thing away.
And he looks at the camera too, and he says, "Shall we take a picture?"
Oh, what do you mean, of the three of us?
Sure.
Well, geez. She kind of looks in a mirror, starts primping a little bit. Yeah, I guess I look all right. At least we had a bath. Yeah, I'm all right with that. What about you, Lottie?
Do we need it with the headdress?
Oh, I don't think he means with the headdress. I think we're just taking a picture.
Sure, then.
I mean, I could wear it if you want me to.
No, no. No, don't wear it, no.
So who's taking a picture of who?
Is there those servants around at all? Or
You could summon someone up, but they would have probably no idea how to operate the camera. You'd have to give them
yeah.
a walk through, and it'd be like you bring up one of the hotel staff. They send somebody up, and you try explaining what they're supposed to do, and you can see as you're explaining they just look increasingly worried that they're going to mess it up somehow.
You mean it doesn't have like that 3-second delay thing on there? It takes
A timer,
in
front-facing camera.
1925, no, I'm afraid not. It's far more involved than that. You have to expose expose the film for a certain amount of time, or the shutter, and all of that. There's an art to it as well as a science, and it's not as simple as aiming and clicking a button.
Yeah, and even if they end up they can't do it, he'll just take a picture of the two ladies or something.
Make an intelligence roll for me, William, to see if you can explain it in a way that they. Yeah, he can at least operate it. It's not a great picture. It's badly out of focus, but it's okay. it's a humorous record of the three of you together in the room.
Me standing in between them both, and he'll thank the man and give him a tip.
Yeah, you can see he's just like his adrenaline is pumping madly after having done that, and he accepts your tip and retreats, pleased that there isn't any other terrifying task you have for him.
Can you wear this headdress?
You're just gonna try it on everybody.
You wear this. You wear this.
Yes. There's a $5 in it for you. All right.
I
So
guess that
yeah, go ahead.
I think that's kind of it for the night.
For the day.
Listen,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of um, a low energy rest of the afternoon. It seems. Um, okay. So that was Friday the 20th. So we'll mark that off, and we are on Saturday the 21st in the morning.
Oh shoot, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
There's no libraries that are going to be open.
Oh shit. What are we to do?
No libraries open on Saturday?
I doubt it. I mean, what would the knowledge, just kind of general
now,
living in
so
1926?
so let me correct you first of all. There are no libraries in Cairo. There are no public
None?
libraries.
Okay.
Um, there are certain mosques who, if you are a scholar, they will allow you in to read their scrolls and things like that. There is unfortunately no public library of like, here's a whole collection of things that anybody. No, that is a distinctly like that's
Western.
that's a few things in like London and Paris and New York. Like it is not a common thing at this point.
Would there be like translation books at the in the British Embassy?
Very possibly. William, you imagine that there's got to be some dictionary resources that you could get your hands on.
Yes.
So, yes, that you could certainly do.
Snooty rich friends who've got some.
Work associates, let's call them.
Yes. Let's go there then.
Well, you would probably want to do that on your own, I would say, unless it would be sort of a breach of protocol to bring these two along.
Okay. So, would you like to stay in the hotel then?
I think we should all stay in the same city at least. I think we should all go back to Cairo. Lottie, is there anything you want to do there? You could maybe try at the embassy and see if they have anything for you that you could use.
And check in with them. I do have a question. Does Lottie have like all her documentation at all, or did that get jacked?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm afraid she does not have any of that.
But Max has been working on some
She
documentation.
sure has.
I mean, I could say that she's. I don't know. I mean, I
would
didn't
have
say
had-
she did it yesterday, but
Yeah, you would have had some time in the afternoon. I mean, it was. Yeah, you guys kind of shut down operations around middle of the afternoon, so it's not like you didn't have time to work on that.
yeah. So you said you wanted Evelyn. She could give you a British last name instead of an Irish last name.
She gonna look to Maxine. I don't think I can pull off a British accent.
All right, Evelyn. What then?
McCready.
McCready. I'm Irish too. I'm a McNair. A lot of people in Chicago are though.
We are very plentiful over in the Americas.
Yeah, that's true. Although, as far as I can tell, we're trying to all get ourselves killed as fast as possible. Well, how does this look? She shows Lottie the passport.
It looks good to Lottie's eyes.
I think it looks fine.
All right, well, it's all yours.
Most. Well, thank you. I wonder if Clive has my things. Probably. Maybe we can steal
Probably.
that back too.
Man, I bet they're all just laughing right now. She shakes her head. That burns me up.
Me too. Should have asked James to get me things if he could.
Maybe we'll have our chance.
Maybe. If we can sneak in there, I can grab what was taken from me back.
Yeah. Well, we'll do our best. All right, I guess we should go to Cairo.
All right.
It's a quick hop, skip, and jump over the Nile. Yeah, I mean it's really only like a 6 or maybe 7 or 8 mile drive.
Oh, it's not bad, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So you are in Cairo.
Oh, British residency. That's not that far away. Is that where we're going?
No, it's not far.
Yeah, we're going to the British Embassy, and where's William going?
He hasn't said exactly.
Where do you want us to drop you off?
Oh, yeah. Where would I be going?
The British residency is ultimately,
That's it. Yeah, 15.
yeah.
Yeah, he'll tell him where he needs to be dropped off.
What's a residency?
That's a place where people live.
Yes. It's like a government house for not the local government, right? It's sort of like an embassy, but it's not really meant to be for the public.
I gotcha. Well, steal me some stationery while you're in there. I'm serious. Something with the the header on it, the letterhead.
Some snacks.
and
It lasts
and
for-
a Tommy gun or some grenades. Yeah, let me make you a list.
Yeah,
It's
you're
also
right.
smart.
I was just gonna say someone needs to write a list. Yeah. This is the point where I say to my wife, "Okay, at this point, you need to write a list."
he smiles at him as he gets out of the car, and he'll head inside. All right. Well, wait. Where are you two going?
We're going to the embassy.
All right.
The American consulate.
No, I think the British. Is there a British? Oh, I guess. Do they
It
not have to
doesn't
have an
s-
embassy?
it
Because there's a.
It doesn't say there is one on here. Maybe the residency counts as the embassy.
Maybe we can go
I
to the
assumed
American
not.
one. I mean, you do have a good rapport. don't you?
Yeah, nah, not really. I think trying to hit up old Frank again might. He kind of basically said he didn't want to see us again.
Uh-oh. Ah, that's true. Didn't you say we should leave?
I guess the residency would be the British embassy, the equivalent of.
There's like a public door and a private door.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, I mean, if William's going to be getting the books and such, there's no need for me to be going in.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, he might be looking in a different place, different people. We should give it a try.
They're probably the same area, but William will probably have like an office that he'll go to separate, not where they're not allowed or something maybe.
Yes, definitely. There's a large section that is off limits to the public unless they are invited back for special purposes.
Don't forget that station area. There's so many things I could do with
Snacks.
that.
Stationary.
Oh, yeah. And a sample of the handwriting.
Look at their hair, too.
I see.
A thimbleful of blood.
He
And an
tips,
arm.
he tips his hat and he takes off. 2 hours.
All right, we'll meet back here.
Okay. All right. So William, what do you do?
William is going to go into the office and ask about getting some equipment and dictionaries.
Absolutely. And the secretary indicates that Lord Allenby mentioned that if you did happen to drop by at any point, he wants to speak with you.
Good. And he kind of
And the secretary says, "I'll be happy to let him know you've arrived."
thank you very much. Kind of a wry look on his face, but he's going to head on back to meet Mr. Allenby.
All right, Lord Allenby to you, sir.
Lord Allenby.
Yeah. And he does like to be referred to as Lord Allenby when he's addressed.
All right.
Yes, so you do have to wait a little bit. Make a luck check for me to see how long you have to wait before he's free. He's a busy man. Oh, not very long at all. You arrive there, and his personal secretary says he kind of looks at you and arches one of his eyebrows, and he says, Lord Allenby will be very pleased you're here. You can go right in.
Thank you, sir. William walks in there.
Yes. William, or whatever your real name is, but to our audience, it's William.
Yeah, James, I think, is the...
James Bond. Yes, James. He says James.
Lord Allenby.
What happened yesterday? I still have yet to receive a report from you, and I'm getting all sorts of little fires that need to be put out all of a sudden seem to be at least indirectly related to, well, whatever it was that happened yesterday.
Yes, I'm still in the middle of my investigation. I have been watching the Clive expedition for some time, and it seems he has been dealing with... Well, I did send you the information about... what's that guy's name again? I keep forgetting his name.
Al-Shakti.
Al-Shakti. His dealings with Al-Shakti, and...
You see he kind of purses his lips when you say that, but yes, he allows you to continue.
He has raised the guard, and from what I have learned is he was the one that stole the sarcophagus. upon
This Al-Shakti fellow.
Dr. Clive.
Dr. Clive, yes.
What I believe right now is that he's hidden it somewhere, and while trying to find it, the entranceway that I knew of was blocked.
The entranceway that you knew of. Yes, well, that's all, well, rather interesting to me. I spoke with Captain Baldwin, personally, and he seemed to suggest that you were at least as in the dark as he was on most of these matters, and there was some business about a couple of ladies who tipped you off about this. And
Yes.
he you can see his lips kind of tighten a little.
Yes. It was unfortunate that I expected to get into the tomb and find the sarcophagus where it was hidden, and unfortunate that the captain had to come out, and that the whole process failed.
Yes,
But
I know all about that. I want to know why it failed, and well, I wanted to hear from you directly, since well, Captain Baldwin has his perspective, but I like to give everyone a chance to explain themselves.
well, the two ladies that are involved, one was part of the Clive expedition, and she was tortured.
In her mind? Or
It seems that
literally?
Shakti mangled her arm. She was in fear for her life. She cannot return to the Clive expedition, for fear that he will kill her.
I see. And you've seen evidence of this with your own eyes, I trust?
I was not witness to the torture, no, but I have seen the evidence of her arm.
And it appeared genuine to you?
It did.
I see. Continue.
So as of now, I still need to do some more investigating, and I will find the sarcophagus. But I need some items and some information.
He's been sitting behind his desk, but he actually stands up and comes around, and you see this sort of regretful look on his face. And he puts a hand on your shoulder. And he says, James, I appreciate the service you have rendered to the Queen, or actually to the King. He says, but I'm afraid I'm rather getting calls for, well, for some sort of show of, well, compliance with the demands of the Egyptians. You understand they're very upset about being humiliated yesterday.
I see.
And he says, it seems, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you still have no hard evidence that Dr. Clive stole the sarcophagus. I'm hearing only suspicions and the reports of these, and he kind of waves his hand a little dismissively, these pair of ladies who claim to to have witnessed a theft of some sort. But what I'm having trouble understanding is what exactly can be done at this point. He says, you've mentioned Omar al-Shakti. He said, that is Now that's barking up a very serious tree, you understand. Mr. Al-Shakti is one of the most influential members of the Cairo business community, highly respected by the Jippos. To take any sort of action against him would require the strictest preparation and vetting, you understand. I'm just not sure it's prudent. And I have noted that you have been on assignment in an inordinately long time. And I recognize the mental strain that, that it can take on a man being out here in this part of the world. And to put it simply, I'm going to put you on leave of absence. I think you need some time off.
But, my lord, I know that I can find some evidence.
I'm sure you believe that, and I've no doubt that if you dug your heels in and looked hard enough, you'd find something of interest. But I have to say quite plainly that yesterday's fiasco is, well, evidence to me that you need to take a step back. Action was taken prematurely, in my opinion, and it has now put us in a delicate diplomatic situation, and that is something, as I assumed you were familiar with, something we cannot afford at this point. It is too costly to the crown. We are on Egyptian relations are strained to the breaking point, and it is my job to, unfortunately, defuse the situation. As much as I'd like to get in and perhaps crack a few heads instead, I have my orders.
And William kind of swallows hard, and I see, my lord.
You understand.
Yes, of course.
Yes, good. He says, of course, when you're sufficiently rested, we'll consider another posting for you when you're ready. But take all the time you need.
Yes, my lord.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, carry on then.
And
He says, just keep us apprised of your movements, in case we need you. But relax. Can do a fellow good. I'm almost envious of you. He's at this point, somehow you don't even remember how it happened. He has gotten you up out of the chair and has walked you back to the door. Like, you don't even remember getting up.
And well, I suppose I'll enjoy my time in Cairo then.
He says, "Oh, I wouldn't stay around here if I were you. I'd go and see other interesting parts of the world, or go back to the home country. That's good for the soul as well. It may help you to reinvigorate yourself. Whatever you need to do, my good man."
Thank you, my lord.
He puts out his hand to shake your hand.
Yeah, and William will shake his hand.
And then he gives you a salute.
Salutes. And turns and exits, kind of just like devastated, but trying as best he can to
keep the stoic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the stoic demeanor.
Yep.
And he's heading, like thinking about it, and he's like, no, there's no way I'm leaving. And he starts to look for where he can find any dictionaries or something, or trying to think about something he might be able to take to relieve from this place.
Well, apparently nobody else quite yet knows that you're on leave.
Yeah.
So, so it depends. So you can certainly, like as far as getting like translation dictionaries, that's kind of trivial.
Okay.
You know where you can, someone can certainly lend you that. Just make sure to bring it back, but
Yeah.
but if you're looking for the serious hardware, that's going to require some charm to get that done before sort of the wheels of bureaucracy grind to a halt for you.
Yeah, he'll try it, I guess, if there is I don't know if there's like an armory or something, or
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, there is an armory underneath the residency, which is mostly used, in crisis situations. That's where the heavy machinery is kept. So yes, but you kind of have to go through the quartermaster, whatever the equivalent at a diplomatic residency would be, to get that stuff. And certainly the more dangerous the material, the higher clearance is needed to authorize that sort of requisition.
God. Yeah, so he'll head to there. I don't know if you want to do that right now, or
Yeah, he heads
Okay.
there. The sergeant is there. Let's see. I think I have a picture of a fine sergeant. There we go. Sergeant McGillicuddy. Yes.
Well,
Present your papers, sir.
hello, Sergeant.
Yes.
And he'll salute, and
Yeah, he salutes back very smartly.
I need some quick items.
Well, I'm afraid I can do the items, but I can't do the quick, sir, unless you've got the papers.
Oh, the papers. Did Denounce send them down to you? Stevens.
Stevens. He goes through. You can see that today's block is basically empty, but he makes a show of looking down the list that doesn't exist. And he says, "No, I'm afraid I've had no requests for any for you, sir."
They're going to take so long. I need these items today, like immediately. I'm about to leave off on a special assignment.
I see. Perhaps you should present the papers then.
Oh, there's nothing we can do?
I'm afraid I'm held personally accountable, sir, for anything that leaves the premises.
I'm sure the paperwork will be here shortly.
Excellent. He says, "Well, you can stand over there as long as you wish." I'm gonna let you try a charm check with a penalty die.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy-
This I imagine this would be difficult to pull off. something smarter than I could pull off myself. Let's see if William's smarter than my horrible attempt.
No.
All right. Well, as he's like failing horribly, probably sounded about like what I just pulled off.
He says, "I'm afraid I cannot requisition a pin for you, sir, without the proper paperwork."
All right, then, Sergeant. I'll have to go find it myself. And
He says, if it's any help, I'll have the items prepared for you when you return.
no, thank you. Very good, Sergeant. He just walks out.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a notepad off the table or something.
When he's not looking. Yeah.
So gets
You can hear him mumbling something. Where did that damn notepad go? I had it here somewhere. Yes.
At least I got some stationery.
You see him going through the past requisitions looking for a notepad that was supposed to maybe been requisitioned the previous day as you leave.
So William's going to probably sit on the steps, just devastated that he's pretty much fired, and wait for them to arrive.
It's not that long till they do arrive. And what did the girls do? Well, he was getting his his ass handed to him by Lord Allenby.
In the highest English way.
Yes.
Having tea.
Trying to seeing if they did have any dictionaries that they were willing to lend out.
Who? The embassy?
The embassy.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Heavens, no. I'll let you make a luck check to see if anybody even has one available that's not like behind in the bureaucratic area. Go ahead. Nah. Oh, I was looking at the charm roll.
Is Lottie making this?
Yeah.
Maxine's the one
made it.
trying. No, it fails. So no.
Okay, in
they
that
don't
case,
even have
Max
it,
is
yeah.
going to look for something to steal.
All right.
Like if it's anything that she thinks would be useful. She's going to make notes of official people's names, even if they're just bureaucrats. You know, it helps to know the names of people. Like this came from secretary, blah blah blah.
Sure,
blah.
sure. Mhm.
So she's gonna walk around, talk to people, take down names, steal stationery if she can.
You get the sense that they, while they're being polite to you, you keep getting the sort of subtle, do come back anytime sort of thing. Like, you're not a British citizen. That's the first
Oh
question.
no, absolutely.
That's the first question they ask you, and they just keep making little comments of what's your plans around Cairo for the rest of the day, and that sort of just like, why are you still here?
She's hanging out with her friend who's supposed to meet someone.
Yeah.
And she'll just turn on the charm.
All right, I'm sure you can filch a number of small items.
I think with Lottie, I think she's going to start reading the Life as a God tome.
Okay.
Just kind of in the interim since she's just waiting.
Yep. Just sipping tea and reading a light little book about life.
It's bound in skin.
Yeah, human skin. Yeah, nice.
Refreshing.
You're just an old-fashioned country girl. Likes to read skin-bound books. What's so weird
I
about
like
that?
drinking tea, eating potatoes, and drinking reading skin-bound books.
Drinking skin-bound books.
I put them in a blender. Bunch of mashed potatoes. It's an Irish delicacy. Delicious.
Oh my. All right. Well, William kind of comes out, and I would say, is he so stoic they can't read anything, or can they tell that he's?
He's trying to like keep on the stoic face. Yeah, I mean, if he can.
Yeah, that's your call. I mean,
Yeah, he'll totally be like smiling and when he sees them and stuff like that. And does he have the dictionaries?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how's everything going?
Fine enough.
Yeah. Any luck?
No. I've been fired.
Oh, what do you mean?
The fiasco from yesterday has put me on a leave of absence.
Oh man.
I'm sorry there.
But good news is I found some dictionaries and some stationery.
Oh.
Better than
Th-
nothing.
Does the stationery just have like embassies? Well, or does it have the name of the guy who works downstairs on it, like in the armory?
From the desk of Sergeant McGillicuddy. Yes.
Yeah, is that what it says?
No, heavens no. But I would say it probably does have British residency letterhead on it. Why not?
Yeah. Would it? But you didn't get any weapons, did you?
No.
Well, anything can be used as a weapon.
I-
Even a
Paper
dictionary. Sometimes words hurt more than bullets.
He says,
As this episode has proven.
he says, I did try. I tried very hard. But that's a no-go. I'm surprised I still get to keep my pistol.
Well, that's sort of your personal sidearm, anyway. You bought that yourself.
Okay.
When you're commissioned, you basically pay for your own uniform, your own weapons, etc. It's still like the old days.
So,
All right. Well, unless you want me to try to write you a little note here to go, get a bunch of grenades and artillery, then I think I'll just come up with a use for this later.
I would need the requisition forms, and I don't believe that would work. Would it? They're not
Oh, that's
requisition forms.
no. That's well, actually, make a luck check for me.
That would be amazing if he snagged requisition forms.
Go for it, luck roll. No, it's
so
just
close.
official stationery. Yeah.
What? How many luck points would it? Is it too many?
It's 10.
You'd
That's a
have to
lot
spend
to spend.
10 to make
Okay,
a
yeah.
requisition form. Yeah. That's...
No, we're gonna have to go with our weapons. We all have weapons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well then.
I'm real sorry about that. I mean, I guess it's kind of not exactly a surprise, though, huh?
No, that's all right. I don't plan on leaving yet. We still gotta find out about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling you got an enlightenment upcoming. Might put this career setback in perspective.
There's no way I can go back to London without magic headdress, ancient tombs. Let's go.
I like you, William.
you're not bad for an Englishman.
Ooh, good last statement for the session. Lottie has had a small change of heart. Not bad for an
Small.
Englishman. Yeah.